be movie. However, there were photos in the book accompanying the album where I can be seen sporting a striped jacket, an orange shirt, and a trendy thin black tie. I will never forget that day, although I had a bittersweet feeling that I was witnessing the last ever live performance by the Fab Four. My next right place, right time experience was as second engineer on the Beatles' final recorded statement, Abbey Road. It was an eye-opening experience as I witnessed how the Beatles approached studio work in contrast to live recording. It was also a privilege to work with and learn from two great recording engineers, Geoff Emerick and Phil McDonald. It's an academic point perhaps, but Abbey Road and Let It Be were released in reverse order to the dates in which they were recorded. Just as I had anticipated that the rooftop concert would be their last performance, I also knew that, realistically speaking, Abbey Road would be the last time the Beatles would be the Beatles. But even still, I felt enormously fortunate to have been one of the few who experienced the creation of their magic firsthand. In the post-Beatles period, I went on to work with Paul on the McCartney and Wings Wildlife albums, and with Harrison and Phil Spector for a couple of sessions on All Things Must Pass, for which I served as second engineer. Having progressed to a fully fledged engineer, following arguably my greatest right place, right time moment, the recording of Pink Floyd's The Dark Side of the Moon, I engineered Paul's Red Rose Speedway album, as well as the singles My Love and Sea Moon. That brings us to the book that you presently hold in your hands. Impeccably researched, Solid State is an accurate history not only of the characters and personnel involved in the Beatles' final album, including myself, I am pleased to add, but also digs deeper behind the scenes into the technical aspects of the recording equipment and the musical instruments used by the Fab Four in the production of this timeless LP. In the coming pages, you will become aware of many hitherto unknown facts about the making of Abbey Road, and the events that led to the eventual demise of the greatest rock band that ever was. Alan Parsons, music producer, engineer, musician, and composer. Introduction. Unmitigated disaster. When it was released in the autumn of 1969, the Beatles' Abbey Road album enjoyed generally favorable reviews, with the likes of NME, New Musical Express, Rolling Stone, and Time rewarding the Fab Four's latest album with strong notices. For the most famous band on the planet, having commercial and critical dominion over the world of pop music for nearly 6 years, it was a very enviable par for the course. But other reviews were mixed, even disparaging at times. The venerable New York Times took surprising issue with the Beatles' offering, deriding the LP's contents as a clear departure from their earlier, ostensibly more sophisticated and fully realized works. In his New York Times review of October 5, 1969, Nick Cohn gave the Fab Four their props, lauding Abbey Road's concluding medley as the most impressive music they've made since Rubber Soul. But his admiration ended there. For the balance of his review, Cohn didn't pull any punches, criticizing the majority of the LP's songs as ranging from pretty average stuff to unmitigated disaster. For Cohn, something didn't sound quite right on Abbey Road. The words are limp-wristed, pompous, and fake, he wrote. The latest compositions from George Harrison were mediocrity incarnate, and he asserted that the badness ranges from mere gentle tedium to cringing embarrassment. What exactly was Cohn hearing in those tracks that made him feel that way? In spite of Cohn's relatively tender age, the 23-year-old Brit had already earned considerable stature among the music critics of his day. During the previous winter, The Who's Pete Townshend had discussed an early draft of his rock opera Tommy with Cohn, who helpfully suggested that the songwriter round out his deaf, dumb, and blind protagonist by reimagining him as a pinball wizard, a shrewd recommendation that resulted in the eventual album's most recognizable flourish, and one of The Who's signature concert staples.